My name is Mystery. Detective Mystery. I live in a small town. I've always lived here. Same people, same cases. Kind of gets boring. But one day, Miss Beverly Ravenwood burst through my door.
There's a ghost in my house.
Miss Beverly was a lonely lady, but she wasn't crazy. But this story sounded crazy.
Show me. Well, I don't know where it went. It was just here a minute ago.
Boo, y'all. Boo.
Big old spirits!
Boo.
He'll be back.
The incident at Miss Ravenwood's home was rather interesting. She had no deaths in the family recently, yet now she has a ghost infestation. What could have caused such a thing? I was about to resume my investigating when there was a sudden knock at my door. It was Miss Susie Mae Jones, the richest woman in the county. What was she doing at my office?
Why, Miss Jones, what brings you to my neck of the woods?
I require your assistance, Detective. Detective Mystery, I have been victim of a rather unfortunate event.
Well, I'll do whatever I can for you, ma'am.
My precious jewels bought for me by my late husband have been stolen.
When did this happen, ma'am?
Last night, I'm not sure exactly when. I woke up this morning and they were gone. I had the servants look everywhere for them, but they were nowhere to be found.
I was curious as to why Miss Jones didn't go to the police to report her stolen gems. But I didn't ask any questions. I never get a good case in this town.
I'll need to see the scene of the crime.
Why, of course, Detective. Come with me. Right here is where they were last seen, Detective. I took them off to go to bed, and when I woke up in the next morning, they were gone. Well?
Do you know anyone who might have wanted to do this, Mr. Jones?
There's this waitress at the restaurant Robert and I always used to go to. She's always been jealous of me. I saw the way she looked at Robert. She even had the nerve to show up to his funeral the day he died. I wouldn't put it past her to have stolen him.
Did your daughter see anything, Miss Jones?
Miss Jones, Miss Maybell's fallen ill again. Shall we phone the doctor?
You'll have to excuse me, Detective. Poor Maybell hasn't been the same since her father passed. I'm going to go up and check on her. Let me know if you find anything.
We'll be in touch, Miss Jones.
I arrived at the restaurant at noon. I'd called ahead to make sure that Tootsie, the woman that Susie Mae had referred to, was working today. I saw her immediately with her red hair. You couldn't miss her.
Tootsie, it's good to see you. I have some questions for you.
What can I do for you, Detective?
Have a seat. One of my clients has had her jewels stolen. She thinks you might know.
Talk about that stuck-up Susie Mae. I know nothing.
That's a rather strong opinion.
I'm sorry, Detective. I just don't like her character. She's been parading around town like she owns the place for far too long. And her poor husband had to put up with her for so long, and he was too nice of a man to have to put up with her. They used to come in here all the time, that is, well, before Robert died. She was always nagging him, do this and do that. Why can't you be a man, Robert? I just thought he was the sweetest man. He did not need her. Now he's dead and she has all of his money. And she parades around here like she owns the place. And that daughter of hers is just strange. Just as strange as can be. She goes out to all these wild backwood parties. You don't see her mama stopping her. She just lets the child run free anytime she wants. Like mother like daughter, as I always say.
Interesting. Thank you for your time, Miss Tootsie.
I found myself at a dead end. Though Tootsie did have a grudge against Miss Jones, she didn't seem to have any real reason to steal her jewelry. I decided to pay another visit to Miss Ravenwood, see if the ghost had come back, get my mind off the case for a while. Real work is hard.
Hello, detective. Come in. What can I do for you? Would you like some sweet tea?
No, thank you, Miss Ravenwood. I'm here on business. Have you been having any more ghost problems?
I haven't seen him again, but I hear some buzz every night when I'm trying to go to sleep. And it's giving me the most terrible fright.
I'm sorry to hear that. How long has the ghost been haunting you? And do you have any idea who the ghost may be?
Oh no, I was adopted when I was a young lass. They all died a long time ago, but they won't be any ghosts no more.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It's mighty strange. How long have you been living here?
Well, I lived here since I went off to college, but I ain't never had no ghost problems until about 3 months ago, just out of the blue.
Hello, detective. Do come in.
Could I ask you some questions, Miss Jones?
Of course you can, detective.
How'd your husband die?
What does that have to do with the case, detective? I didn't hire you to bring back bad memories from the past.
Ma'am, this could potentially help me find out who stole your jewels.
Well, it was 3 months back. Robert and I were at our favorite diner, the one where that waitress works. We were having our lunch, just like any normal Wednesday afternoon. We got our food and Robert and I were talking about sending Maybelle off to private school, when all of a sudden Robert went pale and fell right out of his chair. I jumped up out of my chair and quickly moved over to Robert. He wasn't breathing. The doctor said it was a heart attack, but I just don't believe it. It was such a sudden shock, I could barely believe that my Robert was dead. But his passing took the worst toll on our poor little Maybelle. Excuse me, detective. I need to go and check on her. She needs her mother in a time like this.
My dearest Robert, it is so painful to know you're living with that evil woman. I miss you every day. I just see you from afar in the restaurant and it pains me. I wish you would notice me. I pine for you all the time. We'll be together someday, Robert. I'll save you from that witch. Just wait and see. With all my love, Tootsie.
All the pieces are beginning to come together. I believe I must visit the crime scene one last time.
Well, that's my little Maybelle's. I don't know how that got here.
I'll be gathering all the suspects in my office later today. Meet me there. I have gathered you all here today to reveal the perpetrators of recent events. As you all know, Miss Jones's jewels have been stolen. But I also uncovered another crime. Most of you will be shocked to find out that Robert Jones did not die of a heart attack, but he was in fact murdered.
My poor Robert! How did that happen, detective?
Well, let me explain, Miss Jones. Tootsie! Tootsie, you were working the night that Mr. Jones died, weren't you?
Yes, she was. I saw her there, detective.
But I didn't have anything to do with it.
Oh, poor Miss Tootsie. You were just doing what you thought was right. You were just trying to save the man you loved.
That's a lie.
Oh, well, you were always jealous of Miss Susie May, but you thought it was time to dispose of her. But you made a mistake, didn't you?
It wasn't supposed to be him. It was supposed to be her.
Why don't you explain yourself?
Well, It was just another Wednesday afternoon. The Joneses came in just like they always do for lunch, but if my plan went correctly, Mrs. Jones wouldn't be leaving the same way she came in. I had purchased some poison from the town doctor. He didn't ask any questions, which was fine with me. That day, the Joneses ordered the same thing they always ordered, and I slipped the poison into Susie May's food. At least, I thought I had. I brought their food over and went back to the table and waited. You could only imagine my surprise when it was not Susie May, but Robert, who fell from his chair lifeless. I didn't mean to hurt Robert. I never wanted any harm to come to him. I loved him.
Take her away!
All right, you're coming with me, Miss Tootsie. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you do can and will be used against you in the court of law.
No offense, Detective, but what does this have to do with the jewels?
I'm getting to that. Mr. Jones, your jewels were taken by someone very close to you. Someone in this very room. At first, I had no idea who could have possibly stolen your jewels. The maid came to mind, but why would she mention it when I was off the subject? Then there was the doctor. He had been visiting recently to handle Maybelle's illness. But then I realized who the thief was when I came back to the crime scene and discovered this.
But that's Maybelle's!
Precisely. Why would Maybelle steal your jewels? Simple. When your husband died, he left all the money to you. She was left with nothing.
How dare you accuse me? Why would I steal my mother's own jewels? I don't care about the money.
Your mother was about to send you back to boarding school. That's why you needed money to escape, to get to another country. That's why I found your passport hidden in your father's desk.
Maybelle, is that true? How could you? Because, Mama, you wouldn't listen to me. I didn't want to go to that dumb boarding school. It wouldn't help me no how. I don't want to be no doctor or lawyer or some fancy rich lady who sits around her house all day drinking sweet tea. Mama, I want to be a rock star.
Why didn't you just talk to me, Maybelle? We could have worked this out. You didn't have to steal from me.
Well, Mama, I'm sorry, but I just didn't think you'd listen.
Of course I'd listen, Maybelle.
I'm sorry, Detective, but why exactly am I here?
Well, Miss Ravenwood, or should I say, Miss Jones? I came upon the Jones family tree and noticed that Robert had a deceased sister, but she was still very much alive. Your mother hid you away in an orphanage because she was ashamed of her affair. So when your brother died and he found you alive, he wasn't able to let go. He was able to spend the time with you that he wasn't able to when he was alive.
Brother?
Boo.
Thank you, Detective. You really are the best at what you do.
All in a day's work, ma'am. Now that my first serious case was complete, the town had so much to talk about. I wasn't surprised when I heard another knock at my door.